This is Tessa Keogh, and welcome back to another of our Every Day is Tuesday's Tip Day as we celebrate Family History Month here at the Legacy Virtual Users Group community. Today, we're going to discuss privacy. Privacy is a big deal. Many people and governments are concerned about privacy, both online and offline. Specifically, what information is out there, how is it protected, who can see it, how can someone use it, and what we need to do to make sure that what we share is what we intend to, and that we don't forget about other people's right to privacy. And that is not only important in our daily lives, it's equally important in our genealogy lives. When we seek information, gather data, input it into a genealogy database program, publish our research in books, articles, blog posts, online trees, or share it with family and friends, we are disseminating information. Much of this information is available piecemeal, either at government offices, online databases, websites, in newspapers, and in family records. But we need to remember that before we take that piecemeal information and share it in whatever format we choose, we owe a duty to follow a simple rule: common courtesy. Think about the items I've shown here in this Wordle. Anything as serious as a criminal record, a medical condition, or an unknown adoption, to things that might simply be uncomfortable, like previous marriages or embarrassing stories. Before we share information, we need to seek permission from any living person, and we need to respect their privacy. In fact, online trees should not contain any information about living persons, and most genealogy database programs screen that information automatically. However, we've all seen instances on the major subscription websites or on personal websites where information on living persons has been shared. We also have to remember that our interest in telling those great stories or uncovering previous marriages or unknown children may be a source of pain or embarrassment to those affected. Now, no one is telling you to lie or to not include the facts in your data gathering. After all, much of it is already out there. But what you do with it, making it private, seeking permission, respecting the rights of those who don't want it shared, should affect how you maintain it and at some point publish it. So today, let's discuss how Legacy helps us gather and maintain our family history, while at the same time being respectful and following the genealogical guidelines on privacy. So you knew that we were going to start out by visiting the Legacy help system, didn't you? When we type in the keyword privacy, Legacy brings back 6 topics. Today we're going to take a look at 5 of them. I'll leave web page creation for another presenter. Legacy reminds us that privacy for living individuals is important, and it gives us a few options. We can select a privacy setting of not private, private, or invisible. Now, don't you wish you had some of those options in your real life some days? The privacy setting is found in the individual's information screen. And Legacy also mentions that there are several other places where you can select privacy options, and we'll get back to those. Right now, let's check out the individual information screen. Today, we'll be going back a bit in time with my Norwegian ancestors. I'm quite sure I don't have any privacy issues with family members from the 1700s and 1800s. Zacharias Petterson and Malena Jonsdottir were born and lived their entire lives in Norway. They married in about 1793, and I calculated that date based on the birth of their first child, and they had 7 children. Now that we've been properly introduced, let's start playing. In Legacy, we can make some decisions that affect our entire family file and set parameters for our data entry and our various lists and reports. First up, set living. This feature is only available in the deluxe edition of Legacy. And a reminder here that if you're using the standard version of Legacy, there may be features we discuss that are not available to you. but they will be noted in the help system, as is shown here. And if you're looking for a feature in version 7.5, you should make that same type of check in that help system. We just click on the View ribbon and click on Name List. We click on Options and choose Set Living. That opens up the Set Living dialog box, where here we can do a couple of things. We can set living for records, so either individuals tagged with a particular tag number or individuals in a current search list. And then we can set living to yes or no for that entire group. Keep in mind that if a particular individual already has death or burial information, your selection here won't change the facts. Then you simply click on Apply, and Legacy goes through your tagged list or your search list and sets the individuals as you requested. There are some additional places to look for privacy. Click on the Options ribbon and then choose Customize. At Section 2, Data Entry, we have Section 2.3, What age to presume a person is dead, and that's a family file feature. If there is no data when saving a record, you can provide Legacy with certain parameters and let Legacy do the math. Legacy has included defaults, and if you change them, which I did, and click Apply, you will see this screen. Legacy explains how your choice will work and then asks you whether you want to continue. That's one of those nag screens we talked about a few days ago. Be sure to read the screen and make your choice. A few times I've saved myself from doing the complete opposite of what I intended by reading more about my choice. At Section 3, Data Format, we have Section 3.9, Highlight Living Individuals, and that's a global feature. This is one of those features in Legacy that you can use to remind yourself about living individuals. At Section 4, Data Defaults, we have Section 4.1, Set Living Indicator, and that's a family file feature. Another feature where Legacy gives us a little reminder of who's living. Now you can learn more about privacy settings for individuals at the help system, but information about private individuals is not exported to GEDCOM files by default. Legacy is simply watching out for you. Now back to our individual information dialog box or screen. The privacy settings are located in the lower right-hand corner of the box. And you have three choices: not private, and that simply means public; private, and referred to as private on all reports and exports. This is what you want to use when you want to refer to a person but not provide a name or information. And finally, invisible. Think of Harry Potter's invisibility cloak. You can see everything, but no one else does. It's like they don't exist. But keep in mind that that also takes out any ancestor or descendant lines of that individual. And also keep in mind that these privacy settings are available not only for an individual, but also for a marriage. The Legacy Help System does an excellent job of explaining how suppression of living individuals and their families works in your reports and exports. When in doubt, check Help. You can learn more about either suppressing details or excluding living people completely, as well as suppressing details for deceased spouses of living individuals in the privacy options at Help. You can always override privacy settings. And you can reset your privacy options. For private or individual relationships, you can mark a relationship private or invisible. In this child-parent relationship, you can choose to make the relationship for either or both parents private or invisible. And you can choose to make all or a portion of your notes private notes. Zacharias and Milena had several children. I'm going to pick on David. I open his Notes dialog box and enter some fanciful information in double brackets. Now, I just made this up for a test, but due to David's birth date, I don't think he's going to come looking for me. Now, if I take a look at David's chronology, we see the first sentence of my notes, but not the private or bracketed sentences. This is a good feature to use if you want to write up your notes and want to maintain an individual's privacy or keep your written thoughts to yourself. When we select a report, and here I'm looking at the family group record for David, we can click on Report Options. The dialog box opens and we have several tabbed choices: Include, Format, Sources, and Pictures. On Include, we can choose, among other things, Notes, and then click on our privacy options. That opens up our Privacy Options dialog box, and if we wanted to override any of our privacy settings for a report, we could make the appropriate changes by changing the suppression choices or overriding the private settings. And you can either reset the menu choice each time or retain your choices until you manually change them. Here, I've overridden the privacy settings to include my bracketed notes. Now for a quick print preview of my family group sheet, you can see that my private comments in the note sections are no longer private. Now it's time to delete those notes. In reality, I know nothing about David except his birth date, at least at this point, so I don't want to ruin his reputation. And we can make individual events private. We saw how to set an individual's information to private, and we can also set an event to private. Perhaps we don't want to share particular events in our reports. And we can even make event definitions, not individual events, but the entire event type private. Simply open the master event definition list and edit the event definition. Here I'm selecting the 1940 census, just something I'm playing with. And you can make that event definition private. So for anyone using this event definition, the information is totally hush-hush. Those are just a few examples of privacy settings in Legacy. The possibilities are many. How do you use the control you have to make things public or private? And how do you work to keep confidential information under your hat? Thanks for joining us each day during the month of October as we celebrate Family History Month by using the letters of the alphabet to learn more about our Legacy software and features. See you back here tomorrow for the letter Q.